Welcome into another edition of the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com. Your District 5, District 6 breakdown, week in, week out. Brandon Baney joined by Sean Kane once again. Sean, you were busy last week competing state tennis over in Boise.
Oh, yeah. We went up and you were up there too. I actually texted you because the bus was not going straight on the way up. It was a wee bit windy, but we got up Thursday, and actually Thursday afternoon it was pretty nice. We got a good practice in, and yeah, it was a successful weekend. I was real excited. The weather was nice. We got it all in. It was it's the first time in like 5 years I think we've just had the tournament just run all the way through, no rain or inside or anything. So it was really nice, and they changed some procedures and stuff, and they're kind of getting with the times. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Outside of Thursday, early on in the day, the weather was beautiful. You couldn't ask for anything better. I was over there for state baseball. You were over there for state tennis, and we've got a lot to get to because unlike the fall and winter where things are kind of separated, it is all shoehorned into one weekend in spring sports. So
there's not a hotel free in Boise, I remember one year they did all the sports, and it was Boise State graduation on the same weekend, and there's always a soccer tournament going on, a little younger kids that weekend too, and they're like the closest hotel was Oregon.
Yeah, I think our boss at IdahoSports.com, your boss and mine, Paul Kingsbury, is in charge of booking the hotels when us out of towners come over to Boise to broadcast. And I think he waited too long to the point where the only room that was left that I got was like the master suite with like the jacuzzi in it. And I can't imagine
the honeymoon suite.
I can't imagine that was cheap. So yeah, it was pretty interesting. Yeah, it was pretty interesting to say the least. Okay, well, let's start with state golf because that was the first event that finished
Monday.
Yeah, that was on Monday. And the big story from East Idaho, and this is something we've talked about on previous Prepcasts this year, is Kellyanne Stroud from Chalice.
Yeah,
she has been. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, if you talk anyone golf, that's the first name Kellyanne comes up with any golf coach. So pretty amazing out of Chalice.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch her compete over the course of her high school career. Runaway win at the 2A state tournament. She shot 15 under par, and she finished 21 strokes ahead of the second place finisher from Ambrose.
That's unreal. When you look at some of the other divisions, most of the girls were plus, right? They were way above. So just for anyone to be under over the course of the tournament, I think it's just amazing anyways, and not just under by a little bit, under by a lot.
Yeah, 15 strokes under is incredible. And of course, Kellyanne Stroud announced earlier in the fall that she is signed with Nebraska. She's going to golf for the Cornhuskers next year in the Big 12. How exciting is that?
I mean, it's got to be great. Their facilities for everything. I've been to a couple of games there, and man, I'm guessing whatever they have for golf is amazing too. So what a fun town place to be. Yeah, that should be great experience for her.
And she'll be used to golfing in those winter climates, like up in Michigan and Ohio. I mean, she's gone through in Idaho, right?
Yeah, I guess that like Minnesota's part of their conference and stuff. So yeah, some interesting golf courses ahead for her.
For sure. So congratulations to Kellyanne Stroud from Chalice, the 2A girls golf champion. All right, let's move on to baseball. I was over broadcasting the 3A state tournament at Northwest Nazarene University. They have a beautiful facility there in Nampa. And this was really, Marsh Valley kind of ran away with it. Every single game that they won was by the 10-run rule. They beat Bonners Ferry 13-0. Then in the second game, Jason Jones of Marsh Valley throws a no-hitter against Sugar Salem, and they win 10-0. And then they win in the championship over Fruitland 12-2 via the 10-run rule as well. That no-hitter that Jason Jones threw in the second game, Sean, he hit the very first batter of the game, Ryan Harris from Sugar Salem, plunked him right in the back. And after that, he was perfect. 15 up, 15 down. He was a hit batter away from a perfect game.
Wow, he found the range, right? It just adjusted after one, apparently. And we talked about Marsh Valley a couple weeks ago, and it was kind of set up, but they were pretty just dominant. It wasn't close really at all for them.
Yeah, they went with the strategy of they used their number 3 pitcher on Thursday, their number 2 pitcher on Friday, and then they had Stanton Howell for the championship on Saturday, which ended up working out pretty well. And Dylan Dreesen offensively was kind of the catalyst in that championship game victory. He hit an inside the park home run that scored 3 runs. It was pretty exciting to watch. So
wow.
Yeah, congrats to Marsh Valley, second title in 4 years. Second title in 3 seasons for Marsh Valley. Of course, 2020 was wiped out because of COVID. So congratulations to Coach Kent Howell and the Eagles on their success there. Sugar Salem was there competing. They were not at state last year. They're a program that is still trying to find their footing in terms of success. They've never won a state baseball title, but Sugar goes there and gets a top 4 finish. They took 4th in the third place game. They lost to Weiser, the defending 3A champs. The highlight for Sugar was on the opening day, Sean, as they were playing Snake River. It was a pair of East Idaho teams battling in that 4-5 matchup, and it came down to the bottom of the 7th, and Sugar Salem was down a run, and Mac Chappell, the number 9 hitter, hits a little bloop into center. The Snake River center fielder, Justin Ray, was back too far, couldn't come in, and the tying run and the winning run ended up scoring. It was really exciting for the Diggers.
Yeah, just have a little East Idaho rivalry there. They match up in a lot of other sports too, so that's a pretty exciting game for them.
Yeah, and then one day after Snake River, suffers this like crushing loss, they turn around. They're playing Bonners Ferry in a loser-out game, and they are down 1-0 in the bottom of the 7th. They are down to their final out. There's a runner at first base, and their number 7 hitter, Cooper Keller, comes up, rips it right down the right field line. It is a game-tying RBI triple, sends the game to extras. Then in the bottom of the 8th, there's a runner at second, and Kason Fisher, the Snake River catcher, is up, but he hits a pop fly into center. And the Bonners Ferry center fielder, I felt so bad for him, Sean. He's like looking up, and the ball lands like 5 feet to his right.
Like me in adult league softball.
It was heartbreaking for Bonners Ferry. The game-winning run scores for Snake River.
And if I'm correct, right, just for other people, baseball is you can come back and win it, right? You could lose and then the draw wraps around, or is that just softball?
That's only softball.
Okay, so only softball. Okay.
Yep. So, but Snake River did get to Saturday, which was a big accomplishment. They ended up losing in the consolation final to Kimberly, but 3A baseball really showed up. East Idaho had 3 really good teams that were there. The next biggest accomplishment from East Idaho came at the 2A level, where Firth got all the way to the 2A championship game, where they fell to Nampa Christian 8-0, which is, that's everybody loses to Nampa Christian.
Yeah, they've been very dominant in baseball over the years, Nampa Christians. Yeah.
Yes. Firth had a couple of tight wins. They needed extra innings to beat Wendell in the tournament opener, 6-5. And then they beat Melba 4-2 in a pretty fun semifinal game to get to the championship. Malad was there competing as well. Malad was on the other side of the bracket. And they were the only team at state that actually scored against Nampa Christian. So while Firth was beating Melba in the one semifinal, Nampa Christian was beating Malad 9-3 in the other, but Malad can at least look around and go, hey, at least we scored on these guys.
Yeah, they're the only team, right? They get points off them. So that's just tough.
Yep. And then Malad comes out and wins third over Melba in a 1-0 game. So congratulations to Coach Bo Clark and the Dragons for bringing home third place. That was pretty awesome to see as well. And then I think the team that everybody was most excited to see was Chalice Mackey.
Yeah.
And they had 2 Butte County kids on the team this year as well. So it was Chalice Mackey, Butte County, the River Cats. It had been a while since they had been to state, and they got to state. And they had to play Nampa Christian right away. Hey, congrats, guys.
First round, we're going to take on the best.
That's right. They lose that game 7-0, but then they beat St. Mary's in extra innings, 9-6 in a 9-inning game. And then they get to the consolation final against Wendell. It's the second extra innings game in a row for Chalice Mackey. You look at the final score and go 12-5. How could that be extra as well? It went 9 innings, and they ran out of pitching at the end, but they had a wild ride at state as well.
Jeez, they got their money's worth, right?
They sure did. And again, in terms of roster size, they're not playing with many players. So like everybody, has to step up and help out.
Everyone's a pitcher. Everyone's I play all the positions.
That's right, for sure. So yeah, congratulations to Chalice Mackey on getting back to state. 4A tournament, Pocatello was there representing East Idaho. They lost their opener to Twin Falls, who got to the championship game. They battled back to play Sandpoint in the consolation final, just kind of ran out of pitching. They lost that game 11-2. Bonneville was there as well. I forgot to put this in the notes, but this was a wild game, Sean. Bonneville was playing Columbia in their opener. And we kind of looked at one point as we were broadcasting the 3A tournament and we went, oh, wow, Bonneville's up 6-0. What a start.
Columbia was a solid team this year too, right? Out of Boise.
Yes.
Columbia, Middleton, and Bishop Kelly were just pretty dominant, but 3 really good teams.
All really solid teams. So Bonneville was up 6-0, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is a big development. We checked back in like half an hour later, and I was like, oh, man, it's now it's 6-3. Columbia's cut the lead in half, and literally right as we turned the game on IdahoSports.com, Columbia came up and hit a grand slam to take the lead. It was pretty crazy to watch. So for Bonneville, their tournament didn't go the way they hoped, but they were very competitive against Columbia in the early going. And then at the 5A level, Highland, Idaho Falls, both there. They both went 2-out. Idaho Falls, they had the best pitcher in the tournament, I think, in Merritt Jones. He pitched against Mountain View, the number 1 seed in the opening round. They lost the game 1-0. The only run for Mountain View, the guy got on first on a drop third strike, went to second on a ground out, took third on a balk, and came home to score the only run of the game on another ground out. So
wow.
It's a tough way to lose for Idaho Falls. But
super close, but yeah, man.
Yeah, that's what happened at state baseball. East Idaho, a mixed bag, I would say. And kind of the same thing at softball. For state softball, Malad really carried the torch. They were the defending 2A champions. They came in as one of the favorites. They beat West Jefferson 12-4 in an all East Idaho championship. And this is how wild this tournament was. West Jefferson lost to St. Mary's earlier in the tournament, came back and beat St. Mary's in the third place game 6-5. But this game, Sean, in the bottom of the 6th inning, they're playing St. Mary's and the rain is coming down in Orofino, and they make the call that, hey, we're going to move the rest of the tournament to Lewiston. We're going to go to Airport Park in Lewiston. So this game is in the bottom of the 6th between St. Mary's and West J, and they've got to get on the bus and go drive to Lewiston to finish that up. And obviously Malad had to as well. Those final 3 teams had to kind of pack it up and move as games were in progress. It was a nutty ending for sure. But Malad ends up, keeping their focus and getting a 12-4 win over West J there. So North Fremont was there at state as well. They went 1-2. And it was nice to see the Huskies get to state in softball as well. So,
yeah, that's in softball. Like again, you said you can come back and win it, but that's crazy that they had to move. I can't imagine, but I can't imagine we've had to move for tennis, but like to get your whole team in, and do they let them warm back up then, or?
I think so. You have to, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's very interesting to say the least. 5A state tournament. Highland was there. Thunder Ridge was there. They both went 2-out. 4A state softball. Blackfoot went 2-out. Hillcrest went 2-out. Pocatello beat Hillcrest 8-4 in their opener. Then they lost to Twin Falls, who took third place 9-7. And then they lost to Lakeland. And so Pocatello went 1-2. And then at the 3A state tournament, the second best run besides Malad and West J actually came at the 3A state tournament from South Fremont. They came in as the number 7 seed overall. They beat number 2 seed Marsh Valley 4-3 in the first round. And then Marsh Valley turns around and goes 2-out. So they went from the 2 seed to 2-out. South Fremont, meanwhile, finishes 4th overall.
Wow. That's, good for South Fremont, tough for Marsh Valley to go up there. And, even the seeds are only a number, right? They don't always tell the full story. So that's why you got to play the games and that. So, but nice job by South Fremont. That's just great for them to go up there and compete at that level.
Yeah, I will say with the Max Preps rankings, it looks like the top seed in each classification won the title. but it wasn't necessarily like 2 and 3 that were there at the end along with them. So still a work in progress, those max preps rankings. But
yeah, as long as you can get some separation of the maybe the ones and the twos out of the same half, I feel like it's definitely a move in the right direction.
Well, and this is the biggest thing I point to is Malad and St. Mary's were 2 of the final 3 teams at the 2A softball tournament. They met in that undefeated game on Friday or Saturday morning. Last year with the predetermined bracketing, Malad and St. Mary's played in the first round. And that was a championship matchup in the first round. So
and we don't want that. I mean, no one wants that. So a move in the right direction for sure.
Yep. All right, let's go to track and field. The big story from East Idaho, there were a couple, but Pocatello winning the 4A girls title. And, you kind of heard murmurings from track coaches around the area that like, hey, don't count out Pocatello. I know everyone's looking at Skyline. They've got some great athletes, but Pocatello, kind of the underdog favorite, which doesn't make sense. But
yeah, I was talking to our coach at Century, and, he's like, Preston won boys and girls districts. Pocatello girls didn't even win districts. And he's like, yeah, they didn't win districts, but don't be surprised if they're the ones at the end, because if you look at those podium pictures on IdahoSports.com, there's 2 Thunder jerseys in almost every podium picture, whether it's the one or not. There's like 2 girls, Thunder on those podiums. And it was definitely, there's a lot of red and blue on the podium.
Yeah, so it was really nice to see Pocatello win the 4A girls team title, 84 points. Skyline took second with 68, and they really had a lot of the athletes that were winning. Matea Mangum of Pocatello won the 200-meter dash in 25:08, which is a PR. She took second in the 100 to Claire Peterson of Skyline. I believe Claire Peterson went undefeated this year in the 100, and if you can beat Matea Mangum in the 100, hats off to you. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that must have been just an absolute barn burner to watch that 100 race at 4A level. 2 really good runners going head to head, and that would have been extremely fun to watch.
Yeah, that would have been must see TV for sure. So Matea Mangum wins the 200. She also ran a leg on Pocatello's 4x200 meter relay team that took first with Haley Buffett and Dita Masick and Kalia Tatum. Haley Renzello of Pocatello won the 800 in a PR, 2:15:15. Hallie Pearson also won the long jump for Pocatello. And like you said, those were the individual winners, but the depth, right? Pocatello had a lot of seconds and thirds.
Yeah, there's tons on those podiums, and I'm not 100% sure, but I like, do the top 5 score points in track? Is that how it works? But
top 6.
Top 6, yeah. It seemed like they have 2 on every race, and man, that's tough to beat. And you look at the score and you go, yeah, sometimes a 3-team district's good if you get a lot of people, right?
Yeah, well, yes. So we'll talk about that when we get to tennis, and it's all about who you send to state and representation for sure. From Skyline, we talked about Claire Peterson won the 100 in 12:03. She also won the 300-meter hurdles, and Neela Roberts is such a phenomenal distance runner for Skyline. She's only a sophomore. It's going to be so much fun to watch her over her last 2 years. She wins the 1600 in a sub 5 mile, which is impressive.
That's good. Yeah.
On the girls' side, 4:57:06. She won the 2 mile as well at 10:30:63, which also is a very good time in the 3200. So
yeah, those are so it's about what I run, but I'm not eligible. So
yeah, all right. Yeah, sure you do. 4A boys, Bishop Kelly ran away with the team race, but some individuals did well. Matthew Thomas of Blackfoot swept the distance races, the 1600 and 3200 meter runs. Sonny Gunn of Pocatello won the 800 meter run. He also ran a leg on the medley. That's the 200, 200, 400, 800. He ran that with Eli Northrup, Crew Hales, and Brody Birch. And Tui Edwin of Skyline won the shot put at 57 feet 3 inches, second best throw in the state this year.
Yeah, it was super far, and Brune Fleshman out of Century got second, but that was a battle there in the shot put. I kept seeing posts about it, and yeah, they're not small fellows out there.
Yeah, Tui Edwin is going to be an animal on that Skyline offensive line next year for football as well.
Yeah,
So.
I looked at him. I thought, man, he's a good football player. Immediately is what I thought.
Yes, definitely. All right, let's talk about what happened. The next biggest story from state track and field, I think, was at the 3A level where Sugar Salem, this was the most dominant win by any team in any of the races. Sugar Salem won the 3A boys title with 141 total points, Sean. And get this, their longtime coach, Brett Hill, he's coached cross country and track and field at both Firth and now Sugar Salem for the last number of years. That championship was the 50th in his storied career. 50 state championships between cross country and track. How crazy is that?
There's probably not anything close to that. I mean, not even.
No.
You know, they talk about guys with football that have 10, like that's crazy. So 50, oh my goodness.
Yeah. And you go, well, yeah, there's cross country and track, but it's like that's still, 25 years of 2 a year.
I've never heard anyone say they wouldn't want just one. So, I mean, 50 is just great, and that's a program. All those things go together, right? The running, cross country. A lot of times cross country coaches are the district coaches on the track team. So, that's a year-round gig doing that. So, congrats to him, and what an impressive stat line.
Yeah. Marlo Herford had a really nice write-up on state track and field that's on the homepage at IdahoSports.com. And in there, she talked to Coach Hill, and he said, I want to keep going. He goes, I feel young. I'm going to keep going, which, good luck to everybody else, I guess. That's crazy.
That's you call him up and ask for advice. That's the guy you talk to, Why come up with stuff when someone already knows, man? So I know in coaching, I always like to talk to other people because why reinvent the wheel?
Right. Sometimes the simple path is the most logical one for sure. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Sugar Salem's strategy coming into this track meet, because Kimberly was the team they were competing with, and Kimberly's got the Bear brothers, Jackson Bear, Gatlin Bear. Jackson is going to go compete in college. He's going to be a decathlete at the SEC at Arkansas. Wow. And Gatlin Bear's only a sophomore. He's already got football offers from Oregon State, Boise State, Utah State. He's got like 6 or 7 Division I offers. Those two combined for 76 points for Kimberly. And so Sugar Salem said, okay, we don't have 2 studs like that can go get us nearly 80
70
points.
Pointers. Yeah, we don't have 2 80-pointers.
Yeah, so we have to win by numbers. We have to place in every event. We need all of our athletes that are here to place, and they did. They had, in terms of the top 6 get points, Sugar Salem had at least 1 point getter in every single event except the triple jump. That's pretty good strategy. So
yeah, I mean, if you know, and that's good coaching, right? If you know what it's going to take, you try to put a plan together, and when you get to state, you could have the best plan in the world and it's still state. So to have your plan come to fruition at the state level and get all those places, there's so many intangibles. There's so many other racers maybe you haven't even competed against during the course of the year that you didn't anticipate. So to be able to do that is it's a credit to the program and the coaching and stepping up, because it's difficult to pull those things off at state. I know.
Yes, definitely. So yeah, congrats to Sugar Salem. Boyd Sorensen won the shot put and the discus for Sugar. Porter Holt won the 800 in a PR, 158.34. Sugar also won the 4x100 relay with Tanner Hawks, Trevin Holman, Jarek Rammel, and Jonah Schulteis on the anchor. Rylan Anderson of Snake River, we talked about him a couple weeks ago from that direct com invite, and I said he's going to be an athlete to keep an eye on from Snake River. He won the 400 in 48.80, which is a PR and cooking. Like, that is absolutely cooking.
Woo, yeah, that's going.
He also won the 300-meter hurdles and ran a leg on Snake River's medley relay team, the 200, 200, 400, 800 medley team, along with Johnny Jones, Cole Gilbert, and Noah Jones. They ended up taking first in that event as well. And Keegan McCraw of Snake River swept the distance races, the 16 and 3,200-meter runs. From the 3A girls state track and field meet, just one winner, Kinley Brown of Teton, and she's a good 3-sport athlete. She played basketball for Teton this winter as well. She won the 300-meter hurdles in a time of 48.06. All right, Sean, the 2A meet. We had a lot of individual champs. I'm gonna go through them, and you tell me
I'm
what's.
just gonna say East Idaho is like the 800 mecca.
Yeah, right.
Like every 800, every division, girls, boys, we're winning it here. I don't know. Is it in the water? But it seems like every 800 is East Idaho.
And
That's what I'm noticing.
well, and that's been a trend in cross country over the past several years, right? East Idaho has dominated state cross country
in the 1600, and when there's a lot of 3200 winners too
Yeah.
from East Idaho. So it's because nothing's close.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Soda Springs, Salmon, always really good in the distance races. All right, so 2A girls. Janetti Garbett of Soda Springs. She won the 200, the 400. She also ran the anchor leg on that 1-1-2-4 medley relay team with Hannah Evans, Brooklyn Kemp, and Aspen Christensen. Taya Gaines of Soda Springs won the pole vault. Westside had two distance champions, Joanna Ebert in the 800 in a PR, 2:23.04. Aubrey Barzy won the 1600 meter run in a PR, 5:17.95. Elise Kelsey of Bear Lake won the 3200. So there's that sweep, that East Idaho sweep, right?
Yeah.
West side, Bear Lake. Elise Kelsey wins the 3200 meter run. Liliana Ortiz is such a fun athlete to watch. She's a great hurdler. She won the 100 meter hurdles in a PR, 15:75. She also ran a leg on Aberdeen's first place 4x1 championship team with Courtney Phillips, Emerita Carrillo, and Yasmin Ortiz. Those names will all be familiar to girls basketball fans. They were all on that basketball team that got all the way to the 2A state championship this past winter. So it's nice to see that. Oakley Hebden of Malad won the 300 meter hurdles. Tara Butler of Firth won the high jump. Firth also won the 4x4 relay with Olivia Christensen, Bailey Johnson, Kinsey Nielsen, and Addison Trent. Trent also won the long jump. And Lizzie Nelson of Salmon won the shot put. So the question is, well, how did Melba win the team title? Well, it's because everybody from East Idaho all beat up on each other and stole the points, right?
Yeah, just a lot of it's just kind of all over the place. And so if you had a concentrated little sector, that's probably how Melba won. But yeah, but that's great to see the diversity and all the different schools in East Idaho just competing and showing up. And yeah, that's just really neat in the 2A level. Just a ton of different winners, and yeah, really fun.
Yep. 2A boys, Danny Simmons from Salmon wins the 3,200 meter run in a PR of 9:05.04. He is only a sophomore. It's going to be fun to watch him. Yes, he is. He's in the Simmons name, of course, in Salmon. They're an ace distance running family. He's got 2 more years. Soda Springs won the 4x200 meter relay with Andrew Walker, Dawson Martinson, Gary McEwen, and Preston Mon. Brody Beck of Aberdeen won the pole vault. And then look at this high jump. Christian Bush from Bear Lake and Joe Reber from Melba both cleared. They both cleared 6'10". Nobody else in the entire state came close to that.
And I've seen Reber slam dunk a few at state basketball. He can jump for sure. Wow.
Get this. I know we don't talk about Melba too much on this East Idaho Prepcast, but this was Reber's first year competing in track. And just by being a good athlete, he won the 100. I think he took second in the 200 and took second in the high jump. It came down to prior attempts, as it does sometimes in the high jump, right? If 2 guys clear 6'10", Bush did it in fewer attempts or had fewer scratches, fouls along the way. So Christian Bush, 6'10" from Bear Lake. Wow.
All right.
That's I see you, Christian Bush. That's
he'll be on the basketball team next winter probably. Man, he's jumping that high.
Yeah, get this guy signed up. All right, 5A meet. On the girls' side, Abby Hancock of Rigby wins the 100, 200, and the long jump. I'll admit, Sean, she wasn't really on my radar as I was kind of looking at state preview and who could do well, and that's my bad because Abby Hancock of Rigby was the only triple winner from the 5A girls state meet.
Yeah, and those are 3 very distinct kind of categories where usually there's especially at 5A, it's usually not one person that wins them all. So that's kind of like the triple crown of track, really. I mean, I that's pretty amazing. Rigby always has just a great track team. So I know they have like 200 kids come out for track, but what a great performance from Abby Hancock. get all 3 of those. So I'm sure she was tired on the bus ride home.
Yeah, she earned it, no doubt. Addison Sylvester of Rigby won the high jump, and Brinley Wild of Idaho Falls won the 100-meter hurdles in a PR 15:43. 5A boys side, there were 2 individual champions. Jacob Van Orden of Highland has kind of been the clubhouse leader in the 800 all year. Sets a PR at the last meet of the year, 1:53.71 in the 800. That is flying.
Wow, it's kind of his race, right? I mean that's super quick, and what a great job by him. And all the coaches, I know a lot of those coaches, and they just speak so highly of Jacob and how he's just a great kid, good athlete, and just a good person, and kind of all that mixed together is what you want on your team and as a player and runner.
Yep. Elijah Johnson of Thunder Ridge also won the long jump, 21 feet, 7.5 inches. And, when you talk about Thunder Ridge, it was really a bummer. Teo Johnson is such a good long jumper, and he's great in the sprints, but just was banged up a little bit, and injuries kind of got to him. So it was a bummer that we didn't get to see Teo Johnson from Thunder Ridge at full strength, because I think he and Elijah Johnson in the long jump would have been fascinating to watch.
Yeah, they each, I think, won a couple different, went back and forth during the season. So I think they would have been really fun to go against each other at the end. And as a coach, you like it because you win no matter what. So, I mean, why not?
Right. Okay. The next big story in track came at the 1A meet, Sean. Check this out. Grace wins their first track and field championship since 1958. And they do it by half a point over Lighthouse Christian. 71 points for Grace, 70.5 for the Lions of Lighthouse Christian. It doesn't get any closer than that.
Oh no. And good job on the stat team to find the 50 years ago. Had to blow off the dust on the record books to figure that out. But wow, when you're at like both coaches are running the numbers in their head, and I mean the excitement just must have been unreal for Grace to just get that title. And hard for Lighthouse Christian, but wow, congrats to Grace.
That is so awesome. And again, all the credit goes to Marlo Herford and that state track and field write-up. She had the stat where first title since 1958 for Grace, which is incredible. And really, they got some big time performances from Cole Wilkerson. He swept the distance races. He won the 800, the 1600, and the 3200. I don't know if people that aren't like glued into track and field realize how difficult that is. It is almost impossible to win all 3 of those distance races.
I mean, they're the longest ones, and it's just difficult. Usually someone can perform really well on one, and then it's kind of like then you've got another guy that's all they do is the 1600, and you've already done a race. So to be able to come up and win it all like that it's just a testament to probably the training that it takes to run those races.
Yeah, and then he also ran if the 8, the 16, and the 32 wasn't enough for Cole Wilkerson, he ran the anchor leg on that distance medley, that 200, 200, 400, 800. So he ran the 800, the anchor leg on that medley relay. Yes. And they took first place in that event as well with Braden Kimball, Dallin Draper, Cade Johnson, and of course Cole Wilkerson. So we talked about Abby Hancock being tired on the bus home. Boy, Cole Wilkerson from Grace.
I hope they took him to Olive Garden or Cheesecake Factory. He earned it while you're up there.
Yeah. When you're competing in the big city, right? You got to take advantage.
Oh yeah.
Joshua Smith of Grace swept the hurdles races, the 110 and the 300. That is also very difficult to do. Usually you're good at one and kind of good at the other. And so for him to sweep was pretty impressive. Butte County had a nice showing. Porter Taylor swept the throws, the shot put in the discus. Best name of the weekend, Rebel Beard from Butte County wins the pole vault, and
yes.
Football fans will recognize that name. And then speaking of football fans, Teague Matthews of Rockland wins the high jump clearing, 6'2". That is a PR. And he's another guy that can dunk it in basketball. He can go up and get the jump ball in football as a wide receiver. He's a good 3-sport athlete for Rockland.
Yeah. Rockland boys had just a great year overall for all sports, really, didn't they?
Yes. Deep run in football, basketball champs showing up at state track. I'd say so. 1A girls, Adelaide Wilson of Rockland won the 800 in a PR, and Megan Moore of Mackey won the shot put. And she's an awesome basketball player as well. She's kind of like the center on Mackey's team. She plays down low in the post and ends up winning the 1A shot put competition. So congratulations to all of our East Idaho track and field athletes and those teams that were able to come away with hardware as well. Sugar Salem boys, Grace girls, and the Pocatello girls. What a weekend.
Yeah, just great job by everyone. And it takes a lot of work to do all that track. So hats off to all those coaches and, parents and fans that help those kids get where they need to be.
For sure. All right, Sean, I saved state tennis for last because this is kind of your wheelhouse. You wrote that really awesome recap for us of what happened at state tennis over the weekend. And it could have
been a little better, but
well, yes,
I can't make it up.
Right. Yeah. It's not fiction, right? It's you have to write what actually happened. And,
yeah. All right.
Yeah. That and again, that's on the homepage at IdahoSports.com. You should definitely go check it out. Sean did a great job there. So let's talk about what happened at the 4A meet. I feel like that's where there was the most significant happenings for East Idaho athletes. 5A, it's so tough, right? Because
well, 5A, really it's just tough. Boise gets 9 reps, and there was Cassie Stoddard out of Highland. She made it to the semifinal and lost, and then didn't place. And same with the mixed team from Highland. They made it to the semifinal but didn't place. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough sledding in Boise for the 5A. In the 4A, it was BK's lose, and they didn't lose. So on the girls side, Bishop Kelly versus Bishop Kelly in the girls singles final. Miranda Austin going back to back. Her older brother went 4 times in a row. Noah Austin and I've gotten to know the family, the dad, and everyone. So congrats to them. They're a hardworking family, and John Armstrong out of Bishop Kelly. The girls was kind of wrapped up, but it wasn't totally wrapped up. You had Berkeley Olson and Nicole Train out of Hillcrest that beat BK in the girls doubles final. So Berkeley Olson was with her sister last year, and they won girls doubles, and Nicole played mixed and won mixed with her partner. They combined this year to go against, it says Catherine, and she goes by KK, and Stella, and KK played mixed last year and was runner-up, and I believe Stella played doubles as well, but they combined. So you had two new teams, both had a lot of experience, and that was a good final. That was a close one, 6-4, 7-5, or 7-5, 6-4. So that was a really, really good matchup there on their end. But then like I said, the girls final was singles was BK, and then mixed was Middleton versus Valley View. But so that was kind of wrapped up pretty well. Pocatello High School had a couple girls doubles, but they only got 1 win. On the boys side, it was anyone's to win. I knew that all year. And we've talked about this. We beat this to death, but it kind of came down to how many people you had, and Wood River had their whole team there, and they won the boys championship without winning a championship. And that very, very rarely occurs in tennis. To win the championship, you've got to have someone usually win to get enough points, but they just had enough points scattered over, led by a really good doubles team of Jake and Gus out of Wood River. They took second to Bonneville, and I knew this Bonneville team. My team beat them last year to go to the placing, but I knew these Bonneville guys all year, and had talked to them, and I kind of thought they were the favorite. And they had a couple rough matches. They had a 3-setter versus Sandpoint in the semifinals, and a little chink in the armor, but they went to that final and they just took it to Wood River, and it was a really good match for them. And congrats to that Bonneville team of Dawson Belknap and Jameson Lemon, and just 2 really nice guys that worked really hard over a couple of years to get that championship. And I think the whole city of Idaho Falls was there, because that was probably the most cheering after someone won a championship. There might have been a cowbell. I don't know. It was pretty exciting. But the boys doubles finals is always, they're kind of, there's a lot of trash talking kind of stuff going on, and it's always kind of the most fun to watch. And but then on the boys side, we had Daniel McGee from Century, was the only freshman in the draw. the only ninth grader. He made it all the way to the final. That was kind of what we were hoping for all year, that he could do that, and he was able to do it. And the score won't show it, but he had a really good match against Noah Nielsen from Ridgeview, who was the runner-up last year, and Noah just got better from last year. He looks like a running back. His legs are about as big as tree trunks. Super nice kid, and he just played really well. And I think Noah Nelson went like 20 something and he didn't lose a match all year, so he deserved it. He worked hard and it was good. But it was really nice to see Daniel get there and help the Century boys get fourth. So they did. If we would have had one more really good team, we'd have been right in there. There's only 10-point difference, so but it was good. Daniel is he played varsity soccer. He played freshman basketball. He played varsity golf and tennis at the same time. He was a 4.0 student. He won like freshman academic in school thing. So Daniel is a really good freshman. He's just a really good athlete. He's also into skiing too, like maybe being on like a professional skiing team too. So because he didn't have enough free time. Please do one more thing. But yeah, Daniel McGee was awesome, and he just had a fun. He had for a night, you would never kind of think he was a ninth grader for all the stuff he does, and really just kind of led the team. So it was nice for me to be a part of that. And this was my 17th year of coaching high school tennis, and every time I kind of think, maybe I'm ready to hang it up, it's hard, because just when you get it like a freshman like that, you're just like excited. And I feel like with the Sugar Salem guy, it's just you get really excited. We're driving in SUVs, and they're playing the rap music I don't like, but you know what? I got into it, and it was a lot of fun. So they handled the Bluetooth. It wasn't my stuff, but just to have them all have fun and going up there and that experience. And I'm sure all the teams track soft baseball, you get that, and going up and having that state experience is something. It's pretty exciting. So congrats to all the tennis players, and yeah, it was fun.
4 more years, right, Sean?
You gotta stay until I graduate. And I'm like, boy. No, but they're all great, and it's fun. And then you get to see what they do after and all that, and become doctors, and they have kids, and it's crazy.
Yes.
It's crazy. The road coaching takes you down, and it becomes way more than coaching. I've sat in some interviews for coaches, and they're like, if you had to say what was the coolest thing about coaching, you think initially it'd be like winning a championship, right? But I think about writing letters of recommendation for kids to get into medical school, and how cool that is. Or writing, I don't have to log into some NCAA thing to write this letter of recommendation this week, and just all these weird things I have to do, and how neat that is, and to be a part of it. So that's what I would say if I was on an interview.
Yes, well, and you're secretly kind of one of the gems of coaching in East Idaho. Not just for tennis. I mean, in tennis, you're like the best, and you're modest, I know, but you've won a lot of championships. But in terms of overall coaching as well, I think you're a little bit of a hidden gem over here in East Idaho. We're glad to have you.
Yeah, I like it. I like talking to all the other coaches, and we're just trying to be competitive here in East Idaho. We're just trying to do our best, and you can see that from football to everything. East Idaho, sometimes on paper you wouldn't think we'd be able to go and compete in other places around the state, and we do, and that's a credit to all the coaches and the parents and people that come out there and support these kids, and get them to work out and all that stuff, because we can't do it alone. And so my hat's off to everyone who is involved in our East Idaho athletes. And I mean, looking at this list we got to go over today, it's a pretty amazing.
Anytime we're pumping out as many names as we can, that's a win on the Prepcast, because there were so many great performances. So that's a wrap on spring sports. That is a wrap on the school year as well. But Sean,
I don't have to go to work now. Thanks, Brandon. Write that down and email it to me.
I'll give you a note that you're excused from class for the rest of the year. So the big question everybody has is, what's going to happen to the podcast if there's no sports to talk about? And the answer to that is we're going to continue to be here during the summer, and we're going to step into maybe some interviews. We're going to bring on some coaches and some athletes, and get to know these coaches and players as people a little bit better. So that's what we're going to do in the off season. We're going to take a week off, and then we'll come back and start coming in with these off season interviews. I've already got a couple that I want to reach out to in East Idaho,
Nice.
Sean. So
great.
If you're willing,
I'll be here.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's hop on and interview some people right away. First guest, and I'm going to lean on you for this because you work at Century. Isaiah Harwell.
That's great. I got to really meet him this weekend. He was on the bus with us, and I hung out with him, Bruin Fleshman, and Nash Harding. Which those three guys together, I mean, we could do a show on it. A sitcom. I write that down. I want the rights, but those three guys together. Oh my gosh, what a goofy. And it was really cool. He went up and did track, and we won't get into it if we're going to talk to him, but it was kind of, he was hard for him to see people better than him. Like, I can't remember what race he ran, but there's a kid from BK who's amazing at that race. And he's like, wow, all right. So he learned a lot going in and doing track. It was cool.
Yeah. The kid from BK was probably James Onanabosi. He's going to Arizona to run track for the Wildcats. So
yeah.
Major League.
I'm pretty sure that is, but he went up against them, and it's hard. You forget Isaiah is only like 15 when you're with them, but yeah.
So that's one I wanna work on for sure, and stay tuned to find out who else we're gonna bring on as guests here over the off season. So Sean, as always, thanks for hopping on and doing this. We really appreciate it. All right. And thanks to everybody who tuned in. We'll see you back here in 2 weeks for an off-season edition of the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.